Hey guys, how are you all? Welcome back to Vedantu's J channel, guys. How are you all? I hope all of you are doing good and are safe inside your houses. Okay, so guys, all my students who are moving from 11th to 12th standard, I welcome you all back, and I'm back with another chapter. We just completed electrostatics, and this is the beginning of our chapter number 2 for 12th standard. Yes, this is the timing, especially when we meet for students who are moving from 11th to 12th standard. That means grade 12th lectures are happening at 9 o'clock on our Vedantu's J channel. Okay, so guys, do tell me, how did you like the first chapter? I hope you all have solved questions at your end also. You know that to get the content during this lockdown also, the Telegram group and this Vedantu's YouTube channel itself has been providing a lot of study material along with the lectures over here. Okay, so I'm sure that you are taking the advantage of all these things. Okay, for people who are not able to recognize me, this is my new look, by the way. Yep, this is still me. Yes, guys, your Suri sir, an alumnus of IIT Bombay, but nowadays living up to my YouTube avatar name Mogambo. So guys, why am I called Mogambo? Is because when you will crack this examination of JEE in future, Mogambo push hoga. Also, if you are not aware about the schedule, which most of my students actually are, so as a ritual, let me tell you who are your teachers. This is Harsh sir, he teaches you chemistry. This is Arvind sir, he teaches you mathematics, and this is me. I try to teach you physics. And what is important more than the name of your teachers is the timing when we all meet you. So at 9 p.m. every day, like this one, we meet for theory lectures, and 8 p.m. on selected days, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we meet for MCQ session. Sometimes Menti quiz, sometimes problems MCQ discussion. Okay, so all my JEE 2021 aspirants, I hope all of you are recording this in your mind. You are keeping this in your mind that every day at 9 p.m. you have to be here, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday you have to be here for MCQ session. Okay. Also, guys, if you are new to the channel or have been coming for a while but haven't subscribed, then do subscribe to the channel right now and press the bell icon so that whenever me, Harsh sir, or Arvind sir come live, you get the notification. Okay. Also, if there are any students from JEE 2020 aspiration, or maybe all of you students who are moving from 11th to 12th standard, I know there are a lot of chapters from 11th standard which you might not be feeling very comfortable about. Okay, so if that is the case with you, if already you are very comfortable, that's good. But if there are a few chapters which you took lightly, or you were moving from 10th to 11th standard, so you didn't understand them properly, so if you want to touch all those subjects and all those chapters particularly, so at Vedantu right now an amazing uh, help is there for all of you guys, and that is the micro courses. This is an amazing opportunity for every student to be able to study any chapter from any subject at your speed, at your will. Okay, and more amazingly, that all the micro courses are available for just rupee one. All you have to do, guys, is go on the description of this video. There you will find the link for all the micro courses, or just go on Vedantu's web page. Over there, just look for courses. You will find micro courses, and in micro courses, select the chapter that you want to study. You can see that this is not only for JEE and NEET, it is for anybody who is studying from 6th to 12th standard. So over 2000 plus micro courses are there. Okay, so do take the advantage of that as well. Okay, cool. So guys, let's start. This is the very first lecture. As I said, this is current electricity, and today we are going to talk very basic things. And yes, on the basis of those basic things, we are going to solve a quite few number of questions as well. Okay, so guys, just think about the time when you first got introduced to current electricity. This is not something that you have never heard about. Yeah, you know that electric current is understood with respect to charges, but now the charges have to be moving. So how do we define the electric current? I'm sure you guys are aware and remember the definition that in a conductor, if charges are flowing, then the rate of flow of these charges is what we understand as electric current. Okay, so if say through this imaginary area of cross section there are a lot of charges which are traveling, then the instantaneous current can be defined as dq by dt. Means what? At a given instant we want to check how many number of charges, how many number of electrons or number of protons or any amount of charge which is crossing this particular area of cross section is what you are going to call as the instantaneous current. If you want to talk about a larger period of time, you will just write it as delta q by delta t. Yeah, so this is something which I'm sure you guys are aware about. You have been studying this earlier in 10th standard, you have studied this. Okay, also you know that electric current is what? Electric current is nothing but a scalar quantity. Okay, though it has direction, you might think like that, but then guys remember, if you will have two wires in which current will be flowing, they will not obey the laws of triangle or triangle law of vector addition or parallelogram law of vector addition. So there will be no, they will not actually, this quantity will not obey any law of vectors, be it multiplication or addition or subtraction. So that's why electric current will not be called a vector quantity, it will rather be a scalar quantity. And if we talk about the units, so definitely the units are from here, you can see it is coulomb per second, but it is after the name of the scientist who studied it is amperes. Okay guys, now there should be a fundamental question which should come in our mind when we are speaking about electric current, and that is, what are the materials in which the current can flow? When we talk about the fundamental cause of flow of current, you know that current usually flows in conducting bodies, okay, like metals. It does not flow in bodies which are made up of, say, plastic. It will not flow in a plastic body, it will not flow in a wooden body, it will not flow in a non-conducting body, in short. But if we say that metals are the conducting bodies and they are the bodies in which current can flow, so for a moment just think about this pen that I'm holding to be a iron rod. So this iron rod is conducting. You agree with that, right guys? So if this iron rod is a conducting body, right now I'm holding it but I'm not able to experience or feel any current. So are you saying that right now the charges are not moving in this conductor? What do you think guys? Well, yes, you are right. If this is made up of metal, say iron, it has readily available free electrons because it is a d block element. But then what is happening? Are the electrons not moving? The charges, the electrons are moving. But what is happening is that they are moving in all possible random directions. So when the electrons are moving randomly, when you just look at an iron piece or a metal piece, the electrons are present, they are freely available, they are moving also, but they are moving so randomly that effectively they are not creating any current. For current to happen, you know that you have to connect this to a battery, to a power source. So power source is a very important factor for the generation of electric current. Now, what exactly a power source is going to do is what you need to understand before we get into the further details of electric current. So guys, we know that conventionally how we define the current is opposite to the direction of the flow of electrons. Just now I told you that in a conductor body, electrons are flowing, but they are flowing so randomly. So when will I say that the electrons are going to flow in a particular direction? They are going to flow in a particular direction when they have a reason to flow in a particular direction, when there is a force which is making them flow in a particular direction. So remember one thing, when we are going to talk about a conventional current, the conventional current is going to be opposite to the direction of flow of electrons. So by any means, if I'm able to make the electrons flow through, say, towards the left direction, then we'll consider that the current is flowing towards the right side. Or you can just, for your imagination and visualization and understanding purpose, you can say that your protons or a positive charge of equal magnitude is flowing in the opposite direction of that of electrons, and that becomes the direction of current. Okay, now coming to the part that what exactly is making the electrons travel. So have a look at this guys, pay attention to the plus and the minus sign which has been shown over here. What exactly are you doing here? What you see here guys, that if you connect the conductor through a power source, and what is a power source? It could be a battery, It could be the power supply which is there in your house. So the moment you connect a conductor to a power source, which is basically a battery, the battery's job is to create an electric field. The moment the electrons come in the influence of an electric field, you know that electric field is the field which is created by another charge, and that charge can influence any other charge. That any other charge is basically your electron. So what is happening now, any charge will experience a electric force in an external electric field. That is what is basically happening with the electrons the moment an electric field comes here. So look at this, the animation which you see here. So if the direction of electric field is towards right, then the electrons are going to flow towards left. So right now they are moving towards right, so the electric field is towards left. And now the polarity changed, so electric field went to right side and electrons are moving to the left side. Why this is so happening? Because if we consider a positive charge, the positive charge will create an electric field towards right side, and an electron which is negatively charged will be attracted by the positive charge, so it is going to travel always along the direction which is opposite to the direction of electric field. Okay, now what exactly is happening with the electrons? If you look at electrons at a microscopic level here, guys, they are behaving like a paper boat in a flowing river. The moment you connect the battery, the moment you establish an electric field, your electrons are basically behaving like a paper boat. What happens to a paper boat in a river? It just moves along the direction of flow of river. That is what happens with the electrons here. So when a strong river is flowing of electric field, then all these paper boats are moving in the direction of the flow of the field. Okay, in this case obviously just the polarity is creating the difference. Just think of it as a positive charge flowing in the direction of electric field. So here electrons are flowing in the direction opposite to the electric field. What is important to understand here is basically what is happening with the electrons is a literal word called as drift. So when a paper boat is placed in a river which is flowing, what happens to the paper boat is that it gets drifted. By drifting, we means that paper boat is not even trying to move, but the flow of river is making it move along the direction of the river itself. That's what happens with the electrons. Electrons don't want to travel in a particular direction like an army, but they are moving in a particular direction like an army because they are being forced to do that. So the speed, the average velocity with which they are going to move, the average speed with which they are going to move is going to be called drift speed or drift velocity. Let's read the definition once again. So it is the average velocity with which the free electrons get drifted opposite to the applied electric field. Okay guys, so we can say that these electrons are basically experiencing a force. What is that force, my dear friends? It's basically Q into E, right? And here you can say that because the charge of the electron is small e, just writing the magnitude. So because of this force, the electrons are effectively going to experience a force which is equal to mass into acceleration. Remember, long time back, laws of motion still haunting you. Okay, so the acceleration of the electrons comes out to be E capital E by m. So this is basically the average acceleration which is experienced by the electrons. But now look at this. What is happening here? The electron starts to move in a particular direction. It changes the path, comes here, then changes the path, then changes the path, keeps on changing the path. The thought and the question is, why is the electron changing the path, by the way? Is because there is not only a single electron which is moving here. There are n number of electrons, and remember, in a material, it's not only made up of electrons, the atoms are there. Okay, so when the electron is trying to move, it's getting collided with other electrons as well as it is getting collided with other atoms also. So when it is moving, everywhere you find the direction being changed, it's basically the reason behind it is the collision. So when an electron is going to get drifted also, its effective job is to travel from left end to the right end under the influence of the electric field. From this phase number 1 to phase number 2, it is trying to travel. But in this process, while drifting also, it is undergoing several collisions with other electrons and with the atoms as well. Okay, so the average speed with which it is able to cross this total distance L is what we are also understanding as the average velocity or the drift velocity, and the average time which is spent by the electron in the successive collision is what we call as relaxation time, represented by tau. Remember this term, okay? This is called relaxation time. What is relaxation time? The time spent by the electrons, or average time spent by the electron between successive collisions. So if I look at the acceleration, if electric field is uniform, we can say that the force which is acting on an average on the electrons is constant or uniform, hence the acceleration is uniform. So we can say that the drift velocity of the electron is going to be V equal to U plus AT, assuming electron starts from rest. It is nothing but A into T. But what is acceleration? It is A, which is equal to small e capital E by m, and how much average time? It is capital T, or you can say tau in this case. That means the relaxation time. So guys, this is the expression of the drift speed of the electrons, where E by m is nothing but acceleration experienced by your charge particle, and tau is the relaxation time. Remember this, okay? Cool. Now, there is a very important and very interesting quantity that we define in the introduction, which is called as the current density, okay, which actually sets the basis of understanding that why current is a scalar quantity, by the way. So how do we define current density, by the way? So current density is first of all represented by the symbol capital J, and it is defined as at a point the amount of current that is flowing perpendicular through the unit area around it. So if you consider that this is an imaginary area dA, the amount of total current that is passing perpendicular to this area is what we define as the current density, as the amount of current flowing per unit area as the current density. And important is that it's a vector quantity. So guys, if I take this dA here, then what am I getting the current dI as is J into dA. Okay. Now if you say that I consider an area which is not perpendicular but has some angle theta made. So this area vector will be in this direction, and this angle theta will give me the perpendicular area as dA cos theta. So I will say that the current will become J into dA into cos theta, which means what, guys? It simply means that it is J dot dA, and that is why the total current that is flowing is nothing but the result of dot product of current density and area vector. And whenever we find out the dot product, the result of dot product gives me a scalar quantity. So you can say, because current is the result of dot product of current density and area vector, that's why it is a scalar quantity. Another way of proving it means, if in your board examination, if they ask you to prove that current is a scalar quantity, one of the ways of proving is to tell that current is the result of dot product of J and A. Okay, guys. Now, as far as the theory is concerned, this will be the last slide for us. After that, we'll jump to the problem solving very soon. So here we want to find out the relation between current density and the drift velocity. So guys, what is happening? Say from point 1 to point 2, you have a certain number of charges which are traveling from point 1 to point 2 in delta t time with a drift speed vd. So they cover a distance delta l in that time. So this is the total region which has got created, which has moved from area number 1 to area number 2, or section 1 to section 2. So we want to talk about the total amount of current which has been created when the charges traveled from 1 to 2. So we'll say that nothing but current is delta Q by delta T. Okay. So if I say that the total number density of the electrons, number density of electrons is, say, n, small n, means what? Total number of electrons per unit volume. Then I can say that the total charge which has existed in this cylindrical region between 1 and 2 is nothing but total number of charges and the charge of a single electron divided by delta T. Okay. Now what exactly is capital N? Is the number density of the electron into the total volume delta V. Yes, because what exactly is your small n is number of electrons per unit volume. Okay, and this is multiplied with E divided by delta T. So small n, what is delta V? Delta V is basically the volume of the region between 1 and 2. How many number of electrons are accumulated in the path between point 1 to point 2 or section 1 to section 2 when a total time delta t has passed, for which we are defining the current, okay, for which we are trying to find out the average value of the current. That's what we are talking here about. So what is delta v? It is basically area into delta l into e divided by delta t. Okay, now if you look at this, delta l is vd into delta t, so delta l by delta t is nothing but vd. Delta L is Vd into delta T. So definitely from here, delta L by delta T is nothing but Vd. So I comes out to be NEA into Vd. Okay, why? Because delta L by delta T is Vd. Okay, guys. So we have got the relation between current and the drift velocity. It comes out to be NEAVD, where N is the number density of electrons, E is the charge of a single electron, A is the area of cross section of this conductor, Vd is the drift velocity with which electrons are moving. Now if I want to find out the current density, so what is current density? It is basically current per unit area. So already current is NEAVD, divided this value by A, the expression comes out to be NEVD. Yeah, so this is the expression that we get for current density. But what's the expression that we got for drift speed? It is small e capital E by m into tau. So let's do that. Let's put that. So J is going to be N into E, and this is E capital E tau by M, which is N E square tau by M into capital E. So guys, this everything apart from capital E on the right hand side is number density, charge of electron square, relaxation time by divided by the mass of the electron. This ratio is what we define as the conductivity of a material. You can just check, if number density is more, conductivity will be more. Number density of electron is more available electrons are there, so more conducting the material is. If E and M are already constant, if relaxation time is more, then the conductivity is going to be more, because electrons are moving very easily without creating a lot of resistance. Because more be the relaxation time, more frequent the collisions will happen, and more be the resistance of the material. So we'll talk about resistance very much in detail in this chapter after some time. But right now what we have got is the expression of the current in terms of drift velocity or drift speed, expression of current density as we expected it to be with respect to drift velocity, and relation between current density and electric field. So you can write this vectorially as well. Okay, awesome. So this is what we have learned today. We have learned that how electrons are moving in a particular direction because of the presence of an external electric field. They will try to move in the opposite direction. They are going to get drifted, and the drift velocity is coming out to be the acceleration because of electric field into the time which is taken under successive collisions. Okay, and then we define current density and the relation between current density and the drift velocity. Okay, guys. Okay, now before we start the problem solving, I have one information that I want to share with you all, and that is the Vedantu online quiz, which happens every day at 6 p.m. Okay, so at 6 p.m. every day, the Vedantu online GK quiz goes live, which has a lot of prize money at stake. A prize pool up to of rupees 50,000 is at stake, along with a lot of Paytm cashback. So if you are free and have you have time and you are interested in a quiz, then do come on Vedantu's app every day and participate in this quiz definitely. For that, you will require to update your app if you already have the Vedantu's app. So uninstall it, reinstall or update the app. If you do not have the app, go on the Play Store of your mobile phone and download the Vedantu app. For downloading it, the link is also available in the description of this video. Okay, cool. So on the basis of what we have learned, little few things that we have learned today, let's solve a few questions based upon the same. So guys, question number 1 says the current of 4.8 amperes is flowing through a conductor. The number of electrons per second will be how many? So you know that the total current which is flowing, which we know is basically Q by T, we can say this is nothing but total charge flowing will be N into E by T. where n is the total number of electrons uh, and E is the charge of each electron. And to avoid confusion, let's write it as capital N. Okay. So question is asking us to find out n by t. So we can say that n by t by rearranging is going to be I by E. What is the value of charge of an electron? I hope you know this. It is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. So let's put the value of current, that is 4.8 divided by 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19. So this is 48 by 16, which cancels 3 times, and the value of n by t comes out to be 3 into 10 to the power 19. So this many number of electrons are crossing a given cross section area per second when 4.8 amperes of current is flowing in the conductor. Okay, I hope you got the answer along with me. Okay, keep it up guys, very good. Next one, we have a wire which is carrying a current of 4 ampere, and its cross section area is 10 to the power minus 8 meter square. And if the free electron density in wire is, look at this, per meter cube, that means what is given to you is the value of small n, and the drift speed is to be found. So if you remember, we found an expression I equal to NEA Vd. So we can find Vd, the drift speed, as current divided by N into E into A, where we have all the values. Let's put up the expression values which we have here. So N is 10 to the power 28, small n. E is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, and the value of area is 10 to the power minus 8, and the current flowing is 4, which means what? If I remove this decimal, this becomes 40. So I have 40 by 16, and in the denominator only I have 10 to the power 28 minus 8, that becomes 10 to the power 20. 10 to the power 20 minus 19 is basically 10 to the power 1 only, which means what? This 0 and this 10 gets cancelled. So effectively I'm finding 4 by 16, which is 1 by 4. So the value of drift speed comes out to be 0.25, 0.25, and meter per second is what they are expecting the answer to be in. So the answer in meter per second comes out to be 0.25, option B, in meters per second. Okay, awesome guys. Now this one, in this we have small n value already mentioned, and it says how long does an electron take to drift from one end of 3-meter long wire to its another end. So if you have a conductor in which the electron is going to travel, say, a distance L with a speed drift velocity Vd, then the time will be calculated as distance traveled by the speed with which it is traveled. So this is what we are supposed to find out. So for that, obviously we'll require the value of Vd, and because we know that Vd is going to be I by N into E into A. So the current value is given to us as 3 ampere. The number density is 8.5 into 10 to the power 28. The value of charge of electron is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, and area of cross section is 2 into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay guys, so when we simplify this, the drift speed will come out to be 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 4 meters per second. Okay, and now we can find out the time as L by Vd. Okay guys, so I'm leaving this part for calculation for you guys to do. I've given you all the values, just do the calculations and find that value. The length of the conductor is 3 divided by 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 4. So nearly you can actually say it is 3 into 10 to the power 4, but the exact value will come out to be 2.7 into 10 to the power 4 seconds. This much amount of time will be taken by the electrons to move from one end of the conductor to the other end of the conductor of 3 meter long. Okay. Okay guys, now this one, this says that an electron beam has an aperture of 1 millimeter square, that means area is given, and a total of 6 into 10 to the power 16 electrons go through any perpendicular cross section per second. So n by t is also given, so we have to find out the current. So we have to find out the current and current density both. So if we find out the value of current, current is basically Q by T. And I can write Q as N into E by T, where N by T has been given to us and charge of electron is something that we should know. Okay guys. So the value of number of electrons that go per second is 6 into 10 to the power 16, and the value of charge of electron is something that we need to know is 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 90. So when you multiply this guys, 6 into 1.6 will come out to be 9.6 into 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. That means 9.6 milliampere is the value of the current that we get here. And if we speak about current density will be I by A. So current is 9.6 into 10 to the power minus 3, and I divide this by the area vector. Okay, the magnitude of area is 1 millimeter square. So 1 millimeter is what? 10 to the power minus 3. 1 meter is 10 to the power minus 3 meter, and to make it millimeter square you'll have to square this. That means this will come out to be 10 to the power minus 6. 10 to the power minus 3 into 10 to the power minus 3. So this is 10 to the power minus 6. Overall it is 9.6 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 10 to the power 6. So the value of J comes out to be 9.6 into 10 to the power 3, or you can say 9.6 kilo ampere per meter square. Okay, so yes, need to write the units correctly. Ampere per meter square. That's the value of the current density we got. Okay, guys. Okay, not very difficult questions, obviously, and not even JE level. I would put it this way because these are very fundamental questions of the introductory part of current electricity. Okay, next one, we have to find out the drift speed of the electrons when 1 ampere of current exists in a copper wire of cross section 2 millimeter square. The number of free electrons in 1 centimeter cube of copper is this many. Okay, so we'll have to obviously find the current density per meter cube. So we have to find out the drift speed once again. So drift speed is nothing but current divided by N into E into A. So let's try that. Okay, so first I'll put the denominator values. So the number density is 8.5 into 10 to the power 22 divided by 1 centimeter cube. I am going to convert it into meter cube. That will become 10 to the power minus 6 in meter cube. So this is number per meter cube, because 1 centimeter is 10 to the power minus 2 meters. So if you go for cube, it will become 10 to the power minus 6. So this is small n. Charge of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, and area is 2 millimeter square. So 2 into 10 to the power, again for the same reason, 1 millimeter is 10 to the power minus 3 meters. So when you will square this value, it will become 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, getting this part? So you can see that this 10 to the power minus 6 is getting cancelled with this, and the current is given to us as 1 ampere any which way. So all in all, you have to simplify the value of this 8.5 into 1.6 into 2, that is 3.2. So 8.5 into 3.2 into 10 to the power, this is 19 and this is 22, so this is 10 to the power 3. This is the drift speed that you are expecting. So again, you guys do the calculation. It should come out to be close to 0.036 meters. You want to find this value in millimeters, yes. So this value will come out to be very small already. So when you will take this, this will become 10 to the power minus 3. So just a second, let me do the corrections here. Okay, so when you will simplify this, this factor will come out to be 0.036 into 10 to the power minus 3 meters per second. So you can say that the drift velocity will be 0.036 millimeter per second. That's the answer that you should get. Okay guys, do the calculations, definitely you will get the answer. Okay, cool, not so difficult. Now this one, something from calculus. Question says that we have a current which is variable, not a constant. It is changing with time as 3t plus 4t square, and I is in the amperes, t is in seconds. We have to find out the total charge that flows through the conductor between t equal to 1 and t equal to 3 seconds. So we know that current is defined as dq by dt. So we can write dq as I dt. Yeah. So that means if you want to find out the total charge that has flown, that will be nothing but I into dt. And current is given in the as a function of time. So it becomes easier for us to do the integration, and integration limit is from 1 to 3. So this will become 3t square by 2 plus 4t cube by 3. Not writing a plus c because it's a definite integration. So 3 by 2, this is 3 square minus 1 square plus 4 by 3, 3 cube minus 1 cube. So this comes out to be 3 by 2 into 8 plus 4 by 3 into 27 minus 1, that is 26. So you can see that what I'm getting is 12 plus 104 by 3. So when you simplify this, it will come out to be 140 by 3 coulomb. That's the total charge that flows through the conductor in a time span of 2 seconds between t equal to 1 to t equal to 3 seconds. It will not be a uniform rate because the current is changing, it is increasing with time. So if you will consider time from 3 to 5 seconds, the more amount of charge will flow in that 2 seconds. Okay guys, because the current is not uniform. Okay. Okay, now one question from last year's JEE, that is 2019. Question says that we have to find out the drift speed in millimeter per second when the current is given, area of cross section is given, and current number density of the electron and charge is given. So simply drift speed formula once again to be applied, I by NEA. This just shows that if you are expecting a question also in this part, then drift velocity is the most important topic here. So current is 1.5 divided by number density, which is given to us as 9 into 10 to the power 28. Charge of an electron 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19, and area of cross section is 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. Okay, so I'm just cancelling this because in JEE examination options are very any which way not going to be very close. You can see the options. So cancelling 1.5 and 1.6, I have 1 upon 9 into 5, that is 45, into 1 upon 10 to the power 28, and this is going to be 10 to the power minus 25, so this is 10 to the power 3. So 1 upon 45, when you will simplify guys, this will come out to be 0.021, and this goes up, so this becomes 10 to the power minus 3. So this is in meters per second. So if you want to write this in millimeters per second, answer is 0.02 millimeters per second. That's basically your drift speed, which is option A. Okay guys, and now the time for your homework question. So guys, question is you have to find the electrical current through a cylindrical wire of length L and radius R if the current density through the wire is varying with distance like this. So we have a cylindrical wire in which the current density from the center to the radius as you go at a distance r at this point P is given as A into small r by capital R, where capital R is obviously the radius of the cylinder, where small a is a constant obviously. So you have to find out the value of the total electrical current. Obviously you have to go by I equal to integral of J into dA. So giving you a hint, consider a small cylinder inside, write dA and write J and find out the integration. You will be able to find out the value of the current flowing in the conductor. Okay guys. Okay, and if you are a 2020 aspirant, then definitely you need a boost of confidence and motivation. What better than looking at people who have cracked this examination last year, and that too with the help of Vedantu only. So this is Rajdeep Singh, Chirag Jain, and Sumit Jain. These guys got their All India ranks under top 50, and they should serve as the source of inspiration because they've made it to IITs just by studying at home only. Okay, so don't worry that even if in these last 1 month 45 days that you have left with you for JEE examination, which is not getting postponed any further, definitely. So in that time also, trust me, this time is more than sufficient. You have studied for last 2 years, in fact more than that, because of lockdown. So your preparation is adequate. Have faith on yourself. You will be able to crack this examination in the month of July only. Okay. Also for NEET aspirants, if they are watching, yes, you can also crack the examination, the respective exam that you are preparing for. Okay. Also, if you think that in this last 1 month you want a tailored made plan of action that you want to follow, then guys, a good news that a crash course has just begun. I think this is going to be the last batch of crash course, which started on 1st of this month. We are giving 90 live sessions, 20 plus tests as a test series, and the analysis of all of those, along with where you are going wrong and right, and the quizzes happening in every class, and a lot many things are being given in this crash course. So if you are interested, all you have to do, guys, go on this link which is available in the description of this video and use the coupon code SMCC. An amazing offer is going on that the crash course, which is actually worth rupees almost 25,000, is not even 6,000 anymore. It is being given away for just 4499. Let me show you how can you use this. Okay, so say this is one of the videos which I have seen here. So if we go to any playlist, means any of the video, if you go to, if you click on say show more, you will find the link for all the things that you're looking for, guys. Okay, see this crash course. Okay, don't see here, let me show you one of my videos only, there we'll find out. Okay, so here guys, you see that these are chapter wise micro courses. Also the crash course link 4499, just click over here guys, you will be directed to this page. This is Vedantu's home page, everyone. Okay, so what did we do? We clicked on this part, option number 4 on this video. Look for this crash course word, and when you will click there, you will be directed to this page. Click on buy now. When you will be clicking over there, you will be taken to this page where you have to put your coupon code as SMCC, and over there you will see that after putting the coupon code, the course will be yours for just under 4,500. Okay, let me show you how exactly the platform looks like. Okay, so this is how the timetable will appear for you as well, where you just have to be ready for the lecture. You don't have to make your own timetable, you just have to follow the timetable, the tailor-made timetable which will be given to you specifically for you only. Okay, also let me show you your own content. You can see all these options are here. You can click on study material, you can click on my content. If you click on say content library, you'll have to select the course that you are a part of. When you click over there, say I take you to physics. In physics, as the course progresses, the chapters and the content will keep on added. So here you can attempt an assignment exactly in the same mode as your JEE examination happens. Look at this, guys. Exactly in this mode only your JEE examination will show you the question. Now it is an assignment, so that's why number of questions are not 25 but more than that. So you can see that you can click, you can deselect, you can skip a question, you can click and save a question, and like that you can attempt the test, and whenever you are done you have to just click on end test. Okay, so this is obviously required for you to be very up to date with your preparation. And also if you want to practice, the study material is available. If you click on these are the study materials that you see will be there as a chapter summary, which is definitely required for a quick revision, along with the best of the practice questions which you will find in different books. They are being compiled at a single place so that you don't do the research, you just solve the best of the questions. And don't worry, we also provide you the solutions so that you don't have to be dependent on any of your friends to ask the answers. And definitely in the class we discuss these, but if you are looking for an answer immediately when you are studying, say at 11 o'clock 12 o'clock at night, and then you are looking for quick hint or you want to see how exactly the question solved, this is how you can do that. Okay guys, so you remember what you have to do. Go on the description of the video, these are the links that you will find. That is where you will find this particular crash course, just use the code SMCC. And finally, I hope the steps are clear to all of you. So do enroll before it gets too late. It just started, so you will be in sync with the batch itself. Okay. Also, if you want to know on YouTube itself, if you want to cover up the chapters that I've done before this is for especially for JEE 2021 aspirants, those who are moving from 11 to 12th. So guys, if you want to cover up the topics which I have already done here, then all you have to do is go on the channel playlist and look for the playlist which says GFlow 2021. This 2021 is basically the examination year when you will be appearing for this exam. Okay guys. Also, if you are interested in joining the Telegram group where we share the solutions of the assignment, study material, and daily updates are also shared over there. So just be a part of Vedantu's Telegram group by clicking on the link, which is also available in the description of this video. Okay, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the introduction part of current electricity. If you did, then show that to me by pressing the like button on this video, share with your friends, and definitely do subscribe if you have not. Also press the bell icon so that you get to know whenever I'm coming to teach you any of the chapters. Okay, so guys, with a promise that during the lockdown or during these difficult times the learning won't stop, I'll take your leave and I'll see you very soon. Till then, keep studying, keep enjoying physics, and more importantly, stay safe. Bye bye guys, take care.